Thank you very much. Hello and welcome to everyone. Mary Ellen, your hair has grown. Or maybe you're just having it down. In any case, hello and welcome to everyone. It's very nice to see many familiar faces. And at least, well, Marty, new face. So hello, welcome. So I'm very happy to be here for the last teaching module. Well, sorry. Yeah, of this iteration of Discovering Buddhism. We don't want to say it's the last module. In general, hopefully we'll have many opportunities to discuss Dharma. But for this iteration of the Discovering Buddhism that has been offered for the past several years by the Ocean of Compassion Center in Campbell, then also the good folks at Land of Medicine Buddha have also promoted this, and it's being co-hosted by both centers. So I'm very happy to be here. And so now, what we had done in the past, when we start a new module, then it's very good to, hi Mary Ellen, could you enable screen sharing? It's very good to recite some of the traditional preliminary prayers. So these prayers serve a few purposes. One is, by remembering the kindness of the Buddha, the Dharma and Sangha, it helps to engender, faith in the teachings that we're about to receive. So it helps to prepare our mind in that way. And the other sense where it's very useful is in reciting these prayers, we accumulate a lot of merit and, purify a lot of obstacles for our practice. And so, especially now, as we are going to be embarking on a new material, introducing the tantric teachings, which, maybe some of us haven't had that much experience and exposure to before, then it's especially good to complement our study and practice with the practice of accumulating merit and purifying negativities. So, for that reason, we will now do these prayers for teaching occasions. So first, this praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. So, okay, we'll just do it in a brief way now, right? So before we even, enter the Zoom room, as we walk to our place where we're going to receive the teachings, we should already be thinking of our motivation for receiving the teaching. So in brief, that should be thinking that the purpose of our life is to benefit all sentient beings. In order to benefit sentient beings in the best way, we need to first achieve the state of enlightenment. Then and only then will we have all the skills, qualities, ability to guide sentient beings in the most effective way. And therefore, we need to learn about all the practices that lead to enlightenment. And therefore, we're going to receive this Dharma teaching here today. Okay? And then as we sit down for the teachings, it's very good to visualize Guru Shakyamuni Buddha in the space in front of us and think that he is surrounded by all of the lineage gurus. Maitreya, Manjushri, then all the great Indian masters, all the great masters of Tibet, and then including our own spiritual teachers like His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Then we can also think that all the sentient beings are in the space around us, and as we receive these teachings, then they're also receiving the teachings with us. And now in the context of reciting the preliminary prayers, then as we recite the prayers, then all sentient beings are reciting along with us. Okay? All right. So with that, please recite out loud. Think that you're the chant leader. Guru, teacher, Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly complete Buddha, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be subdued, teacher of gods and humans, to you, Buddha Bhagavan, glorious conqueror Shakyamuni, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. Guru, teacher, Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly complete Buddha, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be subdued, teacher of gods and humans, to you, Buddha Bhagavan, glorious conqueror Shakyamuni, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. Guru, teacher, Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly complete Buddha, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be subdued, teacher of gods and humans, to you, Buddha Bhagavan, glorious conqueror Shakyamuni, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world, to you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, savior, to you I prostrate. With supreme signs, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from lower realms, the one path sublime pure reality, to the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. To those who are liberated, and also who show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any unwholesome actions, engage in perfect wholesome actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of Buddha. A star, a defective view, a butter lamp flame, an illusion, a dewdrop, a water bubble, a dream, lightning, a cloud. See all causative phenomena like this. By these merits may transmigratory beings attain the state of all seeing, subdue the enemy of the faults, and be freed from the ocean of samsara, disturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. So now we'll also recite the Heart Sutra. So some of you might know, but before we engage in actually any kind of recitation, but particularly reciting sutras, then there's a multiplying mantra, Tayata Om Dare Dare Bedare Soha. Reciting that 7 times, it is said one increases the benefit of the recitation by 1,000,000 times. So we can do that. Tayata Om Dare Dare Bedare Soha, 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 Tayata Om Dare Dare Bedare Soha. The indescribable, inconceivable, and inexpressible perfection of wisdom, unproduced, unceasing, the nature of space, object of the uniquely knowing transcendental wisdom, to the mother of victorious ones of the 3 times I prostrate. I prostrate to 3 noble, rare, sublime ones. Thus did I hear at one time. The Bhagavan was dwelling on Master Vulture's mountain in Rajguriya, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of lineage or daughter of lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition of factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomena. There is no I element, and so on up to including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattvas rely on and dwell on the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in 3 times also manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared, Tayata gate gate parasam gate bodhi swaha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you've indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharidavati Putra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandhavas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. So we can do this extensive dispelling of hindrances. I and all surrounding sentient beings take refuge in the Buddha, take refuge in the Dharma, take refuge in the Sangha. We prostrate to the Great Mother Prajaparamita, surrounded by her children, the assemblies of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions. In dependence on my prostrations to all of you, may these words of truth be actualized. In the past, the Deva King Indra dispelled the Maras by reflecting on the profound meaning of the wisdom gone beyond and reciting the profound words in daily recitation. In the same way, I also reflect on the profound meaning of the Great Mother Prajaparamita and recite the profound words in daily recitation. May all diseases, spirit possession, bad conditions, and all negative directions which happen due to past karma and immediate conditions be dispelled. May they become non-existent. May they be pacified. So we can do this as well. The prayer to lion-faced Dakini. From the Holy Supreme Realm of Kichara, you who possess powers of clairvoyance and magical emanation, look after practitioners like a mother looks after her children. To the host of Dakinis of the 3 abodes, I prostrate. Aka sa mara sa shasadara samarai pe aka samara shasadara samarai pe aka. By the teachings of the 3 noble right sublime ones possessing the power of truth, may hindrances be averted, may they be eliminated, may they be pacified, may all enemies and negative forces opposed to Dharma, Shintum Kuruye Soha. May the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified, may we be free from harmful conditions to Dharma, may all excellence be in accord with the Dharma, and may there be of auspiciousness and perfect happiness here right now. Okay. Okay. All right. So now, Discovering Buddhism, Module 13, Introduction to Tantra. So before we started, then we did a brief adjusting of the motivation. And now what I like to do at the beginning of each session is also take a quotation from, usually a Indian or Tibetan source to further amplify our motivation. So many of you know, but just in case, those of you who, haven't been with me before, then why is adjusting the motivation so important? Why is it so emphasized? Well, it's because the force of our actions, and whether they are positive or negative, is primarily determined by our motivation for undertaking the action. So it is said in, Liberation of the Palm Your Hand, Pabonka Rinpoche gives an example of people who are all reciting the praise to 21 Taras. And, one person might do it with a worldly motivation, trying to get a promotion at work, or, I don't know, win the lottery. By the way, so some of you might know, my brother, he lives in Sacramento, and he was telling me that the lottery, this was like last week, he told me the lottery was over 1.5 billion. Is that right? Has someone won yet? Mary Ellen's like, these worldly concerns, I've abandoned them. Anyway, my brother, he told me he bought $10 worth of lottery tickets. So anyway, so you can imagine someone reciting the Tara praise to win the lottery. Okay. And then you can imagine someone reciting the Tara praise, okay, not just to receive wealth in this life, but for a good, state in their next rebirth, being, born into a wealthy family, having a good rebirth, being a king in their next life. Then someone with a motivation to achieve liberation from samsara, and then someone reciting the Tara praise to achieve a complete enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So although the action might be the same, from outward appearance, they're each reciting the praise to 21 Taras. The sort of karmic force of their action will have, greatly different results, right? So, basically, whether the first one done with just a motivation to achieve wealth in this life, whether that becomes dharma or not, is actually questionable. And then the next three motivations are the three motivations that we saw in the Lam Rim, the three so-called capable beings. The first one of getting a good rebirth in the next life, or a good state in the next life, is the motivation of the small scope, or practitioner of initial capacity, small capacity. Then getting liberation from all the samsara is the motivation of a person of medium capacity. And then the desire to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings is the motivation of the great capacity. So those three motivations are dharma, but the one just thinking about next life, they will achieve that their goal, reciting the Tara praise with that motivation, will bring some good effect in the next life. The person doing it for achieving liberation from samsara will, maybe not in the next life, but eventually the force of that karmic weight will go towards the achievement of that goal. But as Shantideva says in Bodhisattva Charyavatara, all other virtues are like a plantain tree. So the plantain tree or the banana tree, once they give fruit once, then they perish and they die. They no longer give fruit. But the Chandideva was talking about the benefits of the mind of bodhicitta. Those actions that we do conjoin with bodhicitta, it becomes like the wish, fruit of the wish fulfilling tree that repeatedly bears fruit without getting exhausted. Okay, so then at the beginning of our session, any not only our teaching session, but any virtuous activity that we do, we should try to cultivate that mind of bodhicitta. Okay, so our actions become most beneficial. They become the cause for achieving of enlightenment. And then, by the way, although we haven't explicitly motivated to achieve wealth or to gain liberation from samsara, those will be accomplished sort of as a byproduct of doing our actions with bodhicitta. Okay, so here the great Indian master Chandra Gomin, he writes in his letter to a student, domestic animals eat a mouthful of easily found grass, and when tormented by thirst, they happily drink water they find. Here, those who make an effort at working for the welfare of others do so out of charisma, joy, and surpassing strength. The sun's great rays shine everywhere, traveling like a horse-drawn chariot. The ground supports the world without calculating the burden. Such is the nature of persons of great capacity who lack any self-interest. They are consumed with whatever brings happiness and benefit to the world. Okay. So here, we're talking the person of great capacity. This means a bodhisattva. All right. So these bodhisattvas lack any self-interest, and they are consumed, means they are completely motivated with whatever brings happiness to benefit to the world. So then the question is, well, what truly brings happiness and benefit to the world? So of course, there's different levels of happiness. So even, winning the lottery, okay, forgetting about that, even on a hot day to, be cooled by a slight breeze brings some level of happiness, right? Having food, having material possessions, that does bring some happiness. But as we recall from the teaching we receive on the faults of samsara, all of these experiences that we have within samsara, means the cycle of rebirth, according to our karma and delusion, sort of we're bound, as it were, to take rebirth again and again in this state of samsara uncontrollably, right? Then any experience we have within samsara is going to be problematic in one way or another. So those happiness that we receive from a cool breeze or a delicious meal or even winning a $1 billion lottery, those are impermanent in nature. Those are going to, decay. They're going to perish. They're not lasting, stable sources of happiness. Okay. So therefore, the only way to, truly bring happiness and benefit to the world is to, at the very least, be able to guide sentient beings to the state beyond the suffering, the state of nirvana, the state beyond samsaric suffering. And therefore, since we're defining samsara as being the state of uncontrolled rebirth due to karma and delusions, then we need to help sentient beings be free themselves, as it were, from the karma and delusions. And that is only possible through uprooting the root cause of samsara, which is the ignorant mind that grasps onto a distorted view of reality. And so to do that, well, one, we need to have that correct view of reality ourselves. Therefore, we need to realize emptiness. But as we said at the beginning, actually, until we have the mind of, the omniscient mind of Buddha, right? Then we're going to make mistakes. Put it in another way, once we have the omniscient mind of Buddha, we're able to see exactly all of the various, levels, intellectual level, intellectual capacity of the students. We're able to see their karma. We're able to see what teaching will benefit them most in any given situation. And then we sort of spontaneously, manifest all kinds of appearances, manifestations in the world that are going to be most beneficial for sentient beings. Okay, so what ever brings happiness and benefit to the world, okay, the sort of maximum happiness and benefit we can bring to the world is to achieve the state of enlightenment. Okay, so therefore, that is the mind of bodhicitta, with a wish to benefit sentient beings in the best way, then setting our sights, setting our goal to achieving the state of complete enlightenment. Okay, so now is a bit elaborated form how we generate this mind of bodhicitta. So now, not just having the wish, but then bringing it into the so-called engaging bodhicitta, right? Not only, oh, may I achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, but in order to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, I'm now going to undertake the actions that will lead to that. And here, engaging in listening, reflecting, and meditating on the supreme Dharma of the Mahayana. Okay? There we go. All right. So now, you might be saying, I hear you, Namjo. We're trying to, achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. Yes. But now, why are we going to become interested in the Vajrayana teachings, right? This module, Intro to Tantra, okay? So some further kind of motivation for this module, okay? I've taken this passage from Destiny Fulfilled, which is a kind of poem that Lam Tsongkhapa wrote about his own path and how he achieved his level of realization. Okay, so within that, he says, there are two vehicles to travel to perfect enlightenment: the profound Vajra vehicle and the perfection vehicle. Okay, so here you might have heard of Sutra and Tantra. Okay, so the perfection wisdom is kind of synonymous with the Sutra vehicle. Okay. So secret mantra, that's also kind of equivalent to the Vajra vehicle, right? Tantra. Okay, we'll get into that later. But secret mantra is said to be much superior to the perfection vehicle. Okay. So just for now, Lam Tsongkhapa says, this is as well known as the sun and the moon. Okay. So in other words, it's very famous, right? So everyone, right? Yeah, probably everyone, they know the sun is like right there in the sky, and the moon also. I mean, not today, it's a new moon today, but in general, right? So maybe for us, it is not as well known as the sun and moon. Okay. And that's why we're going to engage in this module. But in any case, just take it as a hypothesis now, and we're going to establish this later. But the secret mantra is said to be much superior to the perfection vehicle. Some of you might have heard this hypothesis, maybe, that when one practices secret mantra, that enables one to achieve enlightenment in one brief lifetime of this degenerate age. Have you heard that phrase before? Yes. Okay. So normally the perfection vehicle, right? Perfection vehicle, Vajra vehicle, right? So they're called vehicles because just like a worldly vehicle takes its passenger from a certain location to a destination. These vehicles, in a kind of spiritual sense, a Dharma sense, will also enable us to reach a certain goal. So both of these, the end destination is perfect enlightenment. Okay. Whereas we also see the Shravakayana, or the hearer vehicle. So that one, or the Pratyekya Buddhayana, those, right? Two other vehicles that we talk about in different contexts, their end goal is mere nirvana, mere liberation from samsara. Okay, not perfect enlightenment, right? So both of these, then are kind of divisions of the Mahayana, the great vehicle. Okay, great because both have the motivation of bodhicitta, both have the endpoint of perfect enlightenment. Okay, but secret mantra is superior to the perfection vehicle. For now, we can talk of superiority in the sense of quickness in achieving the goal. Okay, secret mantra, by using the profound methods in secret mantra, one is able to achieve the state of enlightenment in one brief lifetime of this degenerate age. Okay, that means, yeah, one lifespan of a human being in this world, maybe 80, 100, something like this. Okay, so it even says that you can achieve enlightenment in 3 years by practicing secret mantra. Okay, whereas the using the perfection vehicle, right, then it takes 3 countless great eons. Anyway, very, very, very long period of time. Okay, all right. So Lama Tsongkhapa then says, while accepting these words to be true, there are some who do not ask, what is the profound vehicle? Okay, and yet assume the mantle of scholars. Okay, so there might be people assuming the mantle of scholars means, they might consider themselves a scholar, to be a scholar. They might even accept that, yes, the Vajra vehicle is superior to the perfection vehicle, but they don't really put effort into understanding what the profound vehicle or the Vajra vehicle is, right? And then, Lama Tsongkhapa says, if such people are supposed to be intelligent, then where are dull-witted? Where are the dull-witted? How extraordinary that anyone should neglect an unexcelled path so difficult to meet. And here, extraordinary isn't like good, but it's like surprising, right? So yeah, how kind of surprising that anyone should neglect such an unexcelled path so difficult to meet. Therefore, I enter the supreme vehicle of the victorious ones, the Vajra vehicle, even rarer than the Buddhas. Okay, why is it rarer than the Buddhas? So it is said, although there are many Buddhas, so for example, in this eon, it's called the fortunate eon of 1,000 Buddhas. Okay, so within this eon, 1,000 Buddhas are going to appear in this world. They're all going to manifest enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, it is said. So Shakyamuni Buddha was the 4th of this fortunate eon. So of the 1,000 Buddhas of this eon, it is said that 3 will teach the Vajra vehicle. 3 will teach Tantra. Okay, 3 out of 1,000. Okay. Not even 1%, right? So, who are the 3? It's this 4th one, Shakyamuni Buddha. And then I think number 11, okay, is Lama Tsongkhapa. He's going to come back and appear in the form of a supreme Nirmanakaya Buddha. Okay. And then the 1,000th Buddha of this eon, he is already known, and he made an aspiration that he would teach all the teachings that the other 1,000 Buddhas taught. And so since number 4 and number 11, maybe it's 9, not sure, 9 or 11, I'm not sure. Anyway, Lama Tsongkhapa. Then the last one will teach all the teachings of the other Buddhas of this eon. So he will do that. So just 3. A profound treasury of the 2 spiritual feats. So here, in general, when you talk about spiritual feats, you can think of two interpretations. One is, we can say, the ordinary spiritual feats, like gaining clairvoyance, like seeing past and future lives, seeing faraway objects, hearing faraway sounds, and so forth. And then the uncommon spiritual feats would be, direct realization of emptiness. Okay. When we talk about that in context of the Vajra vehicle, sometimes you'll see that talking about like the feats or the attainments of the generation and completion stage. So that is one of the topics we're going to get into later. So yeah, we'll talk about that later. So therefore, Lama Tsongkhapa said, I studied it long with much effort, thinking this over how well my destiny is fulfilled. Thank you very much, Noble Lord, Wisdom Treasure. So here in this context, in this prayer, Noble Lord, Wisdom Treasure is an epithet of Manjushri. So this whole destiny fulfilled, Lama Tsongkhapa is sort of praising his guru, Manjushri, and thanking him for guiding Lama Tsongkhapa to achieve all that he achieved. Okay, so we're excited to follow in Lama Tsongkhapa's footsteps and study about Tantra long and with much effort. Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Okay. Actually, why don't we do this? So I also like to do this. Hold on. Okay. Oops. So now, how are we going to study Tantra with great effort for a long period of time? Well, we're going to start with this module 13, Introduction to Tantra. So this, I think, was sent out to all of you on the email. Thank you, Mary Ellen, for doing that. So this is the packet describing, summarizing the material that's going to be covered in this module. So first, description. It's very important to do this, get an overview of what we're going to cover in this module, right? So first, the description. Learn the definition of Tantra, how Tantra works, and why it is a powerful form of practice. Get a broad overview of the 4 classes of Tantra, and learn how to practice simple Kriya Tantric methods. Find out how to integrate the practices of Tantra with Lamrim meditation for optimal results. I like that. Okay. So the topics we're going to cover, we're going to review the general teachings on Guru devotion. So within this Discovering Buddhism program, then there is already a whole module on relying on the spiritual friend. I think Venerable Lexo taught that several months ago. Now Geshe Lexok, okay? So he taught that a few months ago. I hope some of you participated in that. Even if you didn't participate in that, I hope you received teachings on Guru devotion in the past. Because although an important topic, we're going to cover it again, but just in a sort of brief review way. And then we're going to cover how the foundation of success in Tantra is the 3 principal paths that should be AL. Sorry, I'm a bit like that. Then explanation of Tantra. Differences between Sutra and Tantra. Deity Yoga. 4 levels, 2 stages, preliminary practice, overview and purpose. And how to do deity retreats with Lamrim. Okay. So suggested time for the module, they say 3 to 4 classes, but the good folks at Ocean of Compassion Center and Land of Medicine Buddha, they said, let's do 4 classes and then 2 retreat sessions at the end. So we're going to be together for the next 6 weeks. Several hours for an exam. Okay. Anyway, so required integration practices, then we're going to do a meditation on deity yoga. So Chenrezig Tara and or Manjushri, okay? And then a 2-day deity retreat with meditation on Lamrim. Then there's other suggested integration practices, prostration to 35 Confession Buddhas, a 2-day retreat with 9 sessions, 1 for each of the 9 preliminaries, initiations, retreats, and commentaries of different Kriya Tantra practices. Then Noonday retreats, Samaya Vajra preliminary practice, Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga preliminary practice. Okay, so let's see. In this module, what I'm hoping to do when we cover some of these topics, when we talk about preliminary practice, then we can maybe pick a few of the 9 preliminaries and give a bit more commentary on that, how to do. Then there's required reading. So you've all received this required reading PDF, 3 articles in that. And then this book, this book, Essence of Tibetan Buddhism, the chapter called Introduction to Tantra, that should be available as a PDF as well. And then many of you have the Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand. Here, it's just basically 2 pages, 649 and 650. Okay. Then there's other suggested readings, suggested videos like this. Okay. Great. So these are the topics we're going to cover. Okay. So now it's saying in this module, we're going to review the general teachings on Guru devotion. So then the question should be, well, why? We've already had a whole module on that. Why do we need to go over that again? I want new material. Well, the reason why we're doing that. So there's this verse from Lama Chupa, okay? Then crossing the depths of the ocean of Tantra through the kindness of my captain Vajradhara. I seek your blessings that I may hold my vows and commitments, the root of cities dearer than my life. Okay. So in general, okay, like it says in the foundation of all good qualities, the foundation of all good qualities is the kind, perfect, pure guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path, right? So many times you'll see this topic of guru devotion being so much emphasized, okay? But yeah, normally what they say is anything that you're trying to learn, trying to do, if you're trying to learn how to play the piano or learn a language, you need to sort of rely on a teacher that has the knowledge that you're trying to acquire. Okay. So even for like general kind of worldly things, you need a teacher. Then in particular, if we're trying to achieve enlightenment, then we need a teacher to show us how to do that. But within the Vajrayana teachings, it's even more essential. Okay. Why? Because in order to practice the Vajrayana teachings, you need to have an initiation. You need to be initiated into the practice. Then and only then are you sort of minimally qualified to sort of read commentaries, engage in the practices in a complete way, and so forth. And so to receive an initiation, you need a guru that will initiate you into that practice. Okay. Then that's just to enter. Now Lama Tsongkhapa is saying, Lama Chopo was composed by Penchen Losang Chögyен, yeah, Penchen Losang Chögy Gyaltsen. So Chögy Gyaltsen, kind of abbreviated, Chögyен, Chögy Gyaltsen, Chögyen, right? Then crossing the depths of the ocean of Tantra through the kindness of my captain, Vajradhara. So sometimes you'll see this phrase, my guru who is kind in 3 ways. Have you heard that before? Yeah. So that also, there's different levels of kindness, different ways of the guru's kindness. So when they talk about the kindness in 3 ways in the Vajrayana context, it is, giving the initiations, giving the tantric vows, and then giving the commentaries on Tantra. So without those 3, getting initiation, then getting the vows, you see, vows and commitments, the root of all siddhis. Siddhis means attainment, yeah. And then the commentaries, how to actually engage in those practices. You need those 3 then to cross the ocean of Tantra, okay? So now, kindness of my captain, Vajradhara, right? Oh, captain, my captain, right? So Vajradhara is an epithet for the tantric Buddha, right? So when Shakyamuni Buddha taught several of the tantras, he then manifested in the form of Vajradhara. Okay. So here, really, it's we cross the depths of the ocean of Tantra through the kindness of our guru, who gives us the initiation. But here, Pinchen Losang Chögyен, by using my captain Vajradhara, right? Instead of the word guru, is showing their equivalence. Okay. So just like Shakyamuni Buddha appeared in the form of Vajradhara to give tantric teachings, now we are to view our own guru from whom we receive the tantric initiations, vows, commentaries, and so forth, as being inseparable from Vajradhara, the tantric Buddha. Okay. So this sort of recognition that our guru is none other than Vajradhara, or if we're practicing Tara, none other than Tara, or whichever kind of deity we're practicing, we need to see our guru as a one in essence with that Buddha. Okay. So that's why it's going to be, further emphasized in this mantra, in this module on Tantra. Okay. So now we review. Oops. Okay. So now we had said Lamrim is actually the first topic in Lamrim. Okay. See, these are the Lamrim outlines from Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand, which is the main text we've been using as we've gone through the Discovering Buddhism. So there's one of the outlines, the sequence in which disciples are to be taught the actual instructions. So as a review, okay, we had mentioned that all the Lamrim texts, they have similar 4 root outlines. Do we remember? So this one is number 4. the sequence in which disciples are to be taught the actual instructions. Greatness of the author, to show that the teachings, greatness of the author, greatness of the teachings, how to listen and teach such a teaching possessed of the two greatnesses, and then the sequence in which disciples are to be taught the actual instructions. Okay, so this fourth outline then has two sub outlines: the root of the path, devotion to a spiritual guide, and then the proper graduated training you should undertake after you have begun to rely on him. Okay, that's the liberation of the palm of your hand. And there, the discussion on how to devote to a spiritual guide has just four outlines: advantages on relying on a spiritual guide, disadvantages of not relying, then devoting yourself through thought and devoting yourself through deeds. Okay. But we also have the outlines from the great treatise on the path to enlightenment, Lamrim Chenmo. So the four root outlines are the same. And then when it talks about how to rely on the teacher, the root of the path, here it's a bit more extensive in some ways. They have a somewhat elaborate explanation for developing certain knowledge. There they talk about the defining characteristics of the teacher to be relied upon, then the defining characteristics of the student who relies upon the teacher, and then how the student relies upon the teacher, how to rely on thought, how to rely on practice. Then it talks about the benefits of relying and the faults of not relying. Okay. So I like this. I mean, I like them both, but I wanted to go through the outlines from Lamrim Chenmo because this is very important to review. Okay. The defining characteristics of the teacher to be relied upon. Okay, so before I turn to that, right? Some of you who might not know me from before, right? So I don't know what other teachers do if they emphasize the outlines as much. Okay. But I like the outlines because what we want to have is like the outlines form a kind of tree, as it were. And then we can start to just categorize the different information, the different teachings in a nice structure. Okay. And then for our own practice, it's then good just to look at the outlines and kind of review. All right. Outline number one, the defining characteristics of the teacher to be relied upon. Okay, what are those? Right? And the defining characteristics of the student. Okay, what are those? Right? So it's a way that we can, help ourselves remember, and we can even then, if we get good at it, just use the outlines for a meditation practice. Yeah. Okay. So then the defining characteristics of the teacher in the Mahayana context, the source is this quotation from where? Ornament for the Mahayana Sutras, written by Maitreya. Very good. So there Maitreya says, rely on a Mahayana teacher who is disciplined, serene, thoroughly pacified, has good qualities surpassing those of the students, is energetic, has a wealth of scriptural knowledge, possesses loving concern, has thorough knowledge of reality and skill in instructing disciples, and has abandoned dispiritedness. Okay. So those, just to give a little bit more sense. Okay. What that means, the discipline as a result of his mastery of the training and the higher discipline of morality. Mental quiescence means, shamatha, from his training and higher concentration, and the pacification of all delusions and obstacles from his training and higher wisdom. So those three correspond to the three higher trainings. Then more knowledge than his disciple in the subject to be taught. enthusiastic perseverance and joy in teaching, a treasury of scriptural knowledge, insight into and understanding of emptiness, skill in presenting the teaching, great compassion, and no reluctance to teach or work for his disciples, regardless of their level of intelligence. Or, I might add, regardless of the kind of, misbehavior of the students. Okay, we got that? So then it is said, right? Although having all 10 qualities would be the best, Lama Tsongkhapa, brings up a doubt in the Lamrim Chenmo, saying, in this degenerate age, what would happen if we can't find a teacher that has all 10 qualities? And Lama Tsongkhapa cites a passage saying, well, if that's the case, then yeah, it's okay to find someone, even they have half is okay, even if they have a quarter is okay, right? So at the very least, Pabonka Rinpoche, I believe, says that in this day and age, most important is the first three, and then that the teacher should have more knowledge than the student and great compassion. So their motivation should be a good one. Okay. Then the defining characteristics of the student that relies upon the teacher. So then we should also know the source of that. Aryadeva's 400 stanzas. And then Chandrakirti wrote a commentary on the 400 stanzas. So here in 400 stanzas, Aryadeva says, it is said that one who is non-partisan, intelligent and diligent is a vessel for listening to the teachings. The good qualities of the instructor do not appear otherwise, nor do those of fellow listeners. So Chandrakirti then says, after adding the three qualities of the student to the two qualities of being focused and having respect for the teaching and its instructor, there are a total of 5 qualities. In Lamrim Chenmo, Lama Tsongkhapa says these 5 can then be reduced to 4. So keeping us on our toes. But those are striving very diligently at the teaching, focusing the mind well when listening to the teaching, having great respect for the teaching and its instructor, and discarding bad explanations and retaining good ones. Okay. So that is what is meant above with non-partisan. Okay. So not having a biased view, but like, for example, yeah, I'm Gelugpa, so this Gelugpa Lama said it, and so that's a good one, but this other teaching from another tradition, I don't like that one, I discard it, right? So rather than, thinking in that way, listening to sort of the reasoning and, that supports the teaching. And if there is, good logical sort of basis in the teaching, then to accept the teaching in that, after that. And if there's a bad explanation, even to be able to, not follow that, even if our guru or our tradition, have said it. Okay. All right. So then after we have the defining characteristics of the student and the teacher, then there's how to actually rely on the teacher. And here, actually, I've jumped back to the outlines from Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand. The essence, how to regard him properly, means how to regard our teacher as the Buddha. Okay. So the order of this kind of reasoning process laid out in Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand is this. However, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, when he taught this topic, said that for our minds, the Western mind, it is better to flip the order entirely. Okay. So why? Here, in the normal way that it was presented in Liberation of the Palm of Your Hand, number one, Vajradhara, right? Remember Vajradhara? He's the aspect that Guru Shakyamuni Buddha took when he taught many of the tantras. So when the Shakyamuni Buddha taught tantras, he would say that, in the future times, I will appear in the aspect of a guru to benefit sentient beings. Okay. But that is just kind of, we see it in the text, but, having a healthy bit of skepticism, just because, does anyone know this reference? It ain't necessarily so. It ain't necessarily so. The things you are liable to read in the Bible, it ain't necessarily so. Porgy and Bess. I think. Sorry. I used to sing in choirs. That's one song that we sang. Anyway, point is, right? Later it says, Jonah lived in a whale, right? All these things we see in the Bible. Well, ain't necessarily so. So similarly, okay, if it's true in the Bible, also true in the Buddhist scriptures, okay? There are interpretable and definitive scriptures, right? And so we need to have a healthy bit of skepticism and not just, accept something just because it's written in a scripture. His Holiness the Dalai Lama is fond of saying or citing this one sutra passage that, oh, you monks and scholars, just as a goldsmith will only, purchase the gold after cutting it, rubbing it, and scorching it. So you too should only accept my teachings after thorough examination and not out of mere respect for me. Okay. So because we have that principle in play, then we don't just say, oh, Guru said, the Vajradhara said, the Guru is the Buddha, therefore Guru is the Buddha. Right? Okay. So instead we flip it and think about the last one first, number 4. You cannot be sure of appearances, right? So what does this mean? Well, actually, just because someone might appear angry doesn't mean they're angry. Just because they appear to have faults doesn't mean they have faults, right? So normally, right, we might think that, our guru is showing, or it seems that they're forgetting something, they get sick. So if they're an enlightened being, how could they then, get sick? How could they forget something, right? Once when His Holiness the Dalai Lama was being interviewed, I think on CNN, Larry King Live, then Larry King asked him, Your Holiness, if you're a Buddha, like people think, or say that you are, then why do you wear glasses? Why do you need glasses? And His Holiness' response is, wear glasses, I'm going to die. So anyway, we should always, of course, pray that His Holiness has an extremely long lifetime and remains with us until the end of samsara, right? But in general, okay, His Holiness is showing the aspect of not being a Buddha, okay? His Holiness says, oh, I forget this, you know. And so since the Buddha is omniscient, saying, oh, I forgot, would be showing what they call an ordinary form, ordinary aspect. Okay. But just because something is appearing in a certain way doesn't mean that exists in the way that it appears. This happens all the time. And actually, according to the Prasangika view of ultimate reality, actually all of our sense consciousnesses are mistaken with regard to their appearing object, because everything appears to us as being inherently existent, yet nothing actually exists in the way it appears. That's why they liken things to be like illusions, like a mirage, like a dream, so forth. You understand? So if in general we cannot be sure of our appearances, then just because our guru appears in a way of not being a Buddha, that also does not give us the we cannot logically draw the conclusion with certainty that our guru then is ordinary, is not a Buddha, although they might appear that way. Okay. All right. So that's just to kind of loosen our firm grasp on appearance equaling reality. So then we say, all right, we go to the next step. Buddhism Bodhisattvas are still working for the sake of sentient beings. Okay. So remember, Bodhisattva are those who, although they're not yet Buddhas, have generated the mind of bodhicitta, right? And they make so many aspirations that, they'll liberate all sentient beings from samsaric suffering. They will lead all sentient beings to enlightenment. Okay. Now, in the Mahayana tenet system, even the historical Buddha, when he passed away from this life, it's not that his mental continuum was severed, right? The omniscient mind of the Buddha, though it doesn't take rebirth in samsara again, it continues on. The Dharmakaya. The Dharmakaya is the omniscient mind of Buddha. So it is said that this Dharmakaya then pervades all, right? Pervades the whole universe. And this is what enables the Buddhas to manifest in any form that is going to be beneficial for sentient beings. Yeah. As it says in the King of Prayers, on every atom are Buddhas, numberless as atoms, each of them is a host of bodhisattvas. I'm confident the entire sphere of phenomena, the sphere of phenomena is entirely filled with Buddhas in this way, right? So a spontaneous, manifestation anywhere in the universe, according to the needs and karma of sentient beings. Okay. So since the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas made aspiration, like we see in Shantideva, as long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until the Maya to remain, to dispel the sufferings of the world, they are now making good on that promise. They're now making good on their aspiration. So of course, they're still working for sentient beings because they're still suffering in the world. Okay. Okay. So now on the one side, we understand Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're working for sentient beings. Okay. So now we put that to the side for a second. And then we say, all right, so our guru, what is our guru doing? Okay. Or in other words, we think our guru is the one who, as we saw it with the three kindnesses, giving us, initiation, giving us vows, giving us teachings and commentaries. Okay. So let's put it this way. If the Buddha himself were still in the world today, what would the Buddha be doing? He'd be giving initiations, he'd be giving teachings, he'd be giving commentaries, he'd be giving vows, and so forth. Okay. So now all those activities, to benefit sentient beings through dharma, now the guru is doing that very thing. You understand? Therefore, it's kind of like this. We say, all right, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are definitely, leading sentient beings to enlightenment. Okay? They made their vows, their promises, their aspirations. So the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are definitely leading sentient beings to enlightenment, and all sentient beings. That means sentient beings in this world. That means, oh, wait a minute, I'm a sentient being in this world. That means the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are working for my sake. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are leading me to enlightenment. Okay, then we ask, okay, well, for coming from another angle, who is actually leading me to enlightenment? Who? Then we make it specific, and then we remember our gurus. Our gurus are the ones leading us to enlightenment by giving the teachings, by performing the activities of the Buddha. Okay. So then we bring those two together, right? Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are working for enlightenment. Our guru is working for enlightenment. So, therefore, our guru is the Buddha. We get it? That's how this reasoning goes. Okay, someone is making a lot of noise right outside the window. Can you hear that? It's too loud? Okay, good. So that is how we then come to rely on our guru, how to regard him properly. So as it says, in Foundation of All Good Qualities, foundation of all good qualities is a kind, perfect, pure guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By seeing this and applying great effort, may I rely upon him with great respect. Okay. So the great effort part, it is said that all of the sort of realizations in Lam Rim, the two most difficult ones are to regard our guru as the Buddha, and to regard all sentient beings as our mother. Those are the two hardest ones. So the great effort is coming by, going through this kind of 4-step reasoning process again and again and again. And coming to regard our guru as the Buddha. Okay. Yeah. So so now the next outline is then how to rely in thought. So developing respect for him through remembering his kindness. Okay. So this has 3 main outlines. So then, thinking how the guru is much kinder than all the Buddhas. This has 2 sub-outlines, that he is much kinder than all the Buddhas in general. Okay. So here, in the Lamrim, there's uh, a very nice statement. Okay. So this we have to understand. So it is said that in general, all of the Buddhas have the same level of realization. They have the same qualities and all this. Okay. But in terms of just practically speaking, although there are countless Buddhas who've appeared in the past, who are appearing in the present, right? Well, we didn't meet all of them, right? So to us, then, okay. So here's the analogy given, right? Okay, it might be like this. Like we've been starving and thirsty in the desert for a long period of time. Then finally we reach the oasis. Okay. Now there might be a few people kind of selling water, but that one that we first meet who actually gives us the water, right? We'll kiss his or her feet. Say, thank you so much for this water, right? Even though there might be, two others, the one who actually gives us the water, that one will be the one that we're so grateful to. Okay. So in general, countless Buddhas have appeared in the past. They all have compassion for us. Yes, it's true. But it is our guru, the one that we're directly receiving teachings from, that is so much kinder to us, right? We're the ones that we're directly receiving benefit from them, right? So we can think, sometimes it says like this, right? When we think of all the other great masters, or great Buddhas that appeared in the past, Shakyamuni Buddha, Nagarjuna, Tsongkhapa, all these great names. Okay. It's either we didn't have the good fortune to meet them, or we met them, we didn't put their teachings into practice, and then they departed from this world, and we're still here. Okay. So now, the gurus that we have in this life, you'll see in the teachings, oh Guru, look upon, me, a destitute beggar, abandoned by all the previous Buddhas. When we make requests to our Guru, you'll see that abandoned by all the Buddhas. Okay. Well, technically it's not true. The Buddhas aren't abandoning us, right? But Shantideva even says that countless Buddhas have appeared in the past, but I was not able to be subdued by them due to my own faults, right? So due to our own lack of practice, we weren't able to be, subdued, liberated, led to enlightenment by previous Buddhas. But now our Guru, hasn't abandoned us, hasn't given up on us, is still here. Well, some are at least still here. And therefore, the kindness that we're receiving from them is like that one who we meet first after emerging from the desert, right? They're the ones that are kind to us. Okay. So anyway, he is much kinder than all the Buddhas in general. And then he's kinder specifically than even Shakyamuni Buddha. So here, these are outlines, by the way, found in Liberation of the Palm in Your Hand. there, Pabong Rinpoche tells a story that, many eons ago, there was a kind of universal emperor named Aranemi, I think, who had, it said, 1,000 sons. And those 1,000 sons were all bodhisattvas. And those bodhisattvas then, they had some level of clairvoyance. So they were able to then see in the future and see kind of, what different world systems would be like. So they knew about this world. And how many problems it would be facing and how degenerate it would be, and how difficult sentient beings would be to subdue, how stubborn, how unruly, and so forth. So 999 of them, then they said, oh man, this world is called Zambuling, the rose apple world. Yeah, Jambudipa in Sanskrit. Then they said, oh no, I don't want to go to Jambudipa in the future in that degenerate time. It's going to be too hard to benefit sentient beings. Now, these are bodhisattvas, right? These are bodhisattvas who sort of became discouraged in seeing what the world would be like. Shakyamuni Buddha, when he was a bodhisattva, he said, okay, you know what? Yeah, I see everything you're seeing. I know it's going to be difficult, but hey, if I don't, who will? Right? If not me, who? If not now, when? Kind of thing. So the Bodhisattva, who would later become Shakyamuni Buddha, said, I will be the one, and I'll manifest enlightenment in that degenerate age. Okay. So that's why Shakyamuni Buddha of all the Buddhas is kinder to us. He was the one who established Dharma in this era. But our guru is even kinder than Shakyamuni Buddha. Right? Because you can imagine, maybe there was another conference and there was Shakyamuni Buddha and our guru. And, Shakyamuni Buddha said, you see in the sutras, during his time, so many beings were led to liberation, countless, and so many led to enlightenment. And then now, we don't even see that. We don't see people really getting levels of realization. Maybe one or two. I don't know. What do you think? 3, 4, 5? Very rare. There's hundreds in Shakyamuni Buddha's time. Okay. It might not be just 1 or 2. Who knows? But it definitely isn't hundreds. Not to us. It doesn't appear to us like that. Okay. Then, so anyway, the guru is much kinder than all the Buddhas. Then we're to think about our guru's kindness in teaching the Dharma. Oh, sorry. This should be another. Kindness in teaching Dharma, kindness in blessing your mind stream, and kindness in attracting you into his circle through material gifts. So actually the kindness in teaching Dharma is the greatest kindness. As Lama Tsongkhapa says in the Praise to Dependent Origination, that of all the activities of the Buddha, then the activity of teaching is supreme. Then he says, of all the teachings, then this teaching on dependent arising is the supreme of the supreme. But in any case, of all the activities of Buddha, teaching the Dharma is supreme. Why? Because it is through putting the Dharma into practice that we're able to achieve those three levels of aspiration in the Lamrim, right? Even to attain a good rebirth in the next life, we need to accurately abandon negative actions and accomplish good ones. And that we do in reliance on hearing about the teachings of karma. Getting liberation from samsara, well, we need to cut the root of samsara. We need to cut the root ignorance that misapprehends the nature of reality. How do we do that? We need to achieve the realization of emptiness. How do we do that? We first need to receive teachings on emptiness, because how things actually exist is so obscure to our minds, it needs to be pointed out to us. Okay. And then, of course, to achieve bodhicitta, we also need to receive the teachings on 7-point cause and effect instructions, equalize exchange self for others, so forth. And then later, as we saw in the Vajrayana teachings, then we need to be initiated, we need tantric vows, we need commentaries, and so forth. So all of that teaching, what is enabling us to achieve enlightenment in the one brief lifetime of the degenerate age, is the fact that our guru is giving us these teachings. Okay. So next, kindness and blessing your mind stream. Okay. So here, there are many stories in the past. You'll see in Lamrim about, blessing your mind stream. So in more recent times, Lama Zopa Rinpoche was very fond of telling this story of a Kadampa Geshe. Get his name. Anyway, one Chayulwa maybe. Anyway, there is a Kadampa Geshe who is serving as the attendant to his guru, and among his responsibilities was to take out the trash. And it is said that as he descended down the stairs with the bin, I don't know if they had bins in Tibet, but anyway, with the basket, after he had gone down 3 steps, then he attained this level of realization called the Dharani of continuous Dharma, which one achieves on the great path of accumulation, Mahayana path. In any case, like that. Other, many stories of, practitioners being able to purify their mind through service to the guru. Yeah. So this is another one of the kindness. And then lastly, his kindness in attracting you into his circle through material gifts. So this is a little bit strange, but remember, there's the 4 means to subdue disciples. We have the 6 perfections, and then the 4 means of gathering disciples or subduing disciples. And so of those 4, it's first, giving material gifts to attract you into his circle. So I remember once in Bodh Gaya, Rinpoche, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, he once asked a nun to go out, into Bodh Gaya town and buy, I don't know, 200 malas, the rosary, buy 200 of them, and then get them restrung. So then he had these 200 malas, and then he would give them to people. And so now, okay, at the time you received that from Rinpoche, you'd be like, oh, wow, you know, even it's a simple wood mala, maybe, you know, 150 rupees, you know, like $1 or $2. But you got it from Rinpoche and you're like, wow, it was like so precious. Okay. And then you had a kind of, good feeling toward the guru. So this is what it means by attracting you into his circle through material gifts. And then, of course, now that Rinpoche, you know, dissolved his holy mind back into the Dharmata, sorry, then you know, you still have that mala that he gave you, and then it's like, yeah. Yeah. It's a way you can do this one, remembering his kindness. Yeah. Okay. So then at the end of this section, as a kind of summary, it's then like how to then what attitude to have toward our lama. And here it's talking about the 9 attitudes of guru devotion. So these are the 9, but they're actually very beautifully described now, according to the advice of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Then when we do Lama Chupa, there are very beautiful verses that contain these 9 attitudes. So I thought, better than just the list, we go through that practice. How does that sound? Great idea, Namjong? Okay, let's do it.
We've lost your audio,
Thank you. Yeah, okay. So I mentioned a few times, but this Lama Chupa, or the Guru Puja, written by Panchen Losang Chügyен, is a very widespread practice within the Gelugpa tradition. And many practitioners do it on a daily basis. And so it contains all the Lamrim, all the Lojong teachings. It actually also contains the essence of the 3 main highest yoga tantric practices. So it's a very complete practice. Yeah. Zooming yourself to enlightenment. So in any case, here, Lama Zopa Rinpoche has said, had advised that after this verse, Supreme Field of Merit, my perfect pure Guru, through the power of having made offerings and respectful requests, I seek your blessing, Savior, and the very root of all happiness and goodness, that I may come under your joyful guidance. So then the advice is to add these verses of about the 9 attitudes of Guru devotion. So I thought we could go through that. And then, yeah, we'll have some questions and then we can end the session. In order to quickly set all my mother sending beings who have protected me with kindness from beginningless lives in samsara, in a state of complete Buddha, I must attain the perfectly complete state of a Buddha. Therefore, I'll practice the 9 attitudes for resolutely considering and seeing my virtuous friend as a Buddha and carrying out his orders. So here, I request my kind, perfect Guru, who is more extraordinary than all the Buddhas. Yeah. Please bless me to be able to follow you, the qualified perfect Guru, with great respect in all my lives. Realizing that correctly following you, the kind, perfect Guru, the foundation of all good qualities, is the root of happiness and goodness, I will follow you with great respect, not forsaking you, even at the cost of my life. Thinking of the importance of the qualified Guru, I will allow myself to enter under your control. May I be like an obedient son, acting exactly in accordance with the Guru's advice. Okay, so here, there is a big caveat that we should keep in mind, that if, because in this degenerate age, right, there might be cases where the Guru might ask us to do something that appears to be not in accordance with Dharma. So there's actually a story in Lamrim when the Shakyamuni Buddha, in one of his past lives as a bodhisattva, his guru, sort of as a test to his disciples, said that in times of economic hardship, then Brahmins can steal. So that guru sort of told the students, hey, it's all right, you can go steal. So the other students, they went out and stole, but the bodhisattva then went back to his guru and said, no, it's improper to steal, so I'm not gonna do it. I respect you, but I'm not gonna follow that instruction because it's not in accordance with the Dharma. And so the guru then said, give him the thumbs up and said, yes, you're right. This is a kind of test to see. So the lesson for us now is we have to maintain the respect, even when the guru might ask us to do something that's inappropriate, not in accordance with Dharma. Still, when we do that, we respectfully decline and say like that. But we don't lose faith in the guru. Okay. So in the cases when the advice is in accordance with Dharma, then we should act exactly in accordance with that advice. Okay. Now, number 2. Even when Mara's evil friends and the like try to split me from the Guru, may I be like a Vajra, inseparable forever. Okay. When the Guru gives me work, whatever the burden, may I be like the earth, carrying it all. When I follow the Guru, whatever suffering occurs, may it be like a mountain, immovable. Even if I have to perform every unpleasant task, may I be like the servant of the king with a mind undisturbed. Having abandoned pride, holding myself lower than the Guru, may I be like a sweeper. May I be like a rope, joyfully holding the Guru's work, no matter how difficult or heavy a burden. Even when the Guru criticizes, provokes, or ignores me, may I be like a dog, never responding with anger. May I be like a ferry boat, never upset at any time to come and go for the Guru. Okay. So, you see the PowerPoint? Back to the PowerPoint. So these last 6, here it was translated, yeah, mountain. How to assume responsibilities. Okay. So this is like when we're actually, serving the Guru, right? When we receive instructions, how do we act? Okay. But the essence is, if we truly see our Guru as the Buddha, then all the rest of these will come naturally, right? Then, well, of course, we're going to hold ourselves lower because we know we're not Buddhas. If we truly see them as the Buddha and we see them as omniscient, then any instruction we receive, it'll be like no problem to see that, oh, the Buddha, my Guru, the Buddha is giving me the advice, the teaching, the practice that is going to be most beneficial for me to achieve enlightenment, to be free from the oceans of samsaric suffering as quickly as possible. So because I want to achieve enlightenment, because I want freedom from suffering, I'm going to do this. I'm going to carry out this advice. I'm going to perform this task. Okay. So then, last, glorious and precious Guru, please bless me to be able to practice in this way. From now on and in all my future lives, may I be able to devote myself to the virtuous friend in this way. Okay. So last, if you recite these words out loud and mentally reflect on their meaning, you'll have the good fortune to be able to devote yourself correctly to a virtuous friend in life after life. If with these 9 attitudes you serve and respect the virtuous friend, even if you do not practice intentionally, you will naturally develop excellent qualities within your mind stream and complete the extensive merits of virtue, thereby quickly becoming a perfectly complete Buddha. So Lama Zopa Rinpoche was very fond of telling this story as well, that actually one of the attendants of Pabonka Rinpoche, it is said he was illiterate. He couldn't read. But he serves his Guru Pabonka Rinpoche, cooking, making tea, sweeping, taking out the trash, whatever. Then it is said that at one point, even having been illiterate, he could recite the Lama Chupa, this prayer that we just referred to, by heart. It's something like 119 stanzas. Anyway, we see many stories of this. Those of you who know the story of Milarepa, the great yogi who achieved enlightenment in one degenerate lifetime in Tibet. And anyway, just to review, he, in the early part of his life, had practiced black magic and actually killed many sentient beings, human beings, and other animals. Then when he met his guru Marpa, instead of giving him teachings, put him to work and had Milarepa build a 9-story tower. And this was, 800 plus years ago. So no, equipment. And so carried all the rocks by hand, bore a lot of hardships. But Milarepa from his side, had the attitude of being like a dog, being like a sweeper and all this. And through all of that service to his guru, was able to purify his mind and was able to achieve enlightenment in that very lifetime. So, this is advice for myself. I try to think about this. Sometimes I have varying levels of success, but maybe it'll be instructional for some of you, I hope. So, we receive instructions from our guru, to come to study here at Sera. Other of you might have been asked to be the director of a center. Maybe you're told to, recite 100,000 Vajrasattva mantras. Okay, whatever advice we got from our guru. Then, due to a lack of merit, due to too much negative karma, perhaps too many obscurations, then of course we're going to experience difficulties. It's not always going to be a walk in the park. So those times of difficulty, and then to think, oh, wait a minute, my guru asked me to do this, whatever it is. Then to think of, Milarepa, who is asked to, carry big boulders and build a tower, 9-story tower, to the point, where he had wounds on his back, right? So compared to that hardship that Milarepa bore for his guru, then, to study or to offer service or, recite a few mantras, do a retreat, it's not that difficult, actually. So I like to think like that. When I remember to think like that, it can help. When it feels like, oh, so much hardship. What do you think? I think that's the point. You see, this is another I think symptom of the degenerate age. Lama Zopa Rinpoche, I remember him saying many times that gurus nowadays, they can't act like Marpa acted toward Milarepa, right? He would joke that the gurus would be sued if they were treated that way. Okay? Okay. So I don't know, maybe. Maybe it would be more beneficial if gurus had those level of skillful means at their disposal. Maybe. But one day it occurred to me, hey, actually, you know what? it's more beneficial. Like building a tower, okay, it's some physical hardship, you know. But for me, then my guru asking me, study Dharma. Well, then I can do this. I can share Dharma, right? I mean, I can share a few drops of the ocean. Sorry. In any case, so when I think like that, it's like, oh wow, that's even a greater kindness that from the guru, right? Because if I had just been carrying rocks or whatever, then I don't know. I mean, of course, if I had like the one carrying the trash down, and I got some level of realization sort of miraculously, that'd be another story. But through doing the teaching and following this level of advice, then definitely I had more qualities than I had. Well, we can say intellectual book knowledge. I have more intellectual book knowledge than 18 years ago. So anyway, maybe we can think like that when there's hardship, and then saying, oh, I'm following my guru's advice. My guru could have advised me to carry boulders, but instead he asked me to do this. So just as Milarepa didn't complain and did all that work and gained realization, so I'm going to be like that way, like that too. What do you think? We can try? Okay. So a few minutes. I have a few minutes left. Are there any questions based on what we talked about today or anything else? No? Yes. Oh.
Shanti has her hand raised.
Oh. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Good morning, Venerable. Thank you.
Morning.
My question is that there are in the 10 qualities of the spiritual teacher, there's the third one, realization and understanding of emptiness, wisdom. And there's the seventh one, also knowing about emptiness. So what is the difference?
It's a very good question. Okay. What I think. Let me look at that again. Okay. I just consulted Lamrim Chenmo, and it doesn't make it more clear. But what I think it could mean is number 7. So there, in that context, Lama Tsongkhapa says, best if you have the realization, but at the very least, you should be able to have at least the proper intellectual understanding by relying on scripture and reasoning. Okay. So I think number 3, when we talk about thorough pacification through training in wisdom, it would actually be talking about the realization of emptiness. Now, number 7 is then probably, and I'm not sure if this is just my mind making this up, but I think I remember them talking about, you know, on the scriptural level, also being able to, you know, differentiate different tenet systems and so forth when it comes to emptiness. So that doesn't necessarily have to be the full-fledged realization, but just kind of a very good intellectual understanding.
Thank you, Venerable.
Yeah, I'll just read what Lama Tsongkhapa says in this context. So thoroughly pacified, that's number 3, refers to having accomplished the training of wisdom. This is done by specifically analyzing the meaning of reality and dependence on meditative serenity when the mind becomes serviceable. So that, I think, is referring to, yeah, like the full-fledged realization, right? Actually, and yeah. Then number 7, knowledge of reality, refers to a special training in wisdom, the knowledge of the selflessness of phenomena. In another way, it is said to be best if the teachers have a perception of reality, but if they do not have it, it is acceptable for them to know reality through scripture and reasoning. Yeah. Mary Ellen?
I'm thinking back to the other modules, and I don't think up until now that the sutra vehicle has been referred to as the perfection vehicle. And so I wanted to mention that. And then when we were studying before, we referred to the vast and the profound as being the method and the wisdom. And now in that one quote, where did I write it down? In that one slide, the profound, the Vajra vehicle is now referred to as the profound.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, even this word profound, in general, something is profound because it cannot be realized by ordinary beings. Okay. Now, my hypothesis is, okay, so sorry. In Lamrim teachings, you're right, Mary Ellen, when we talk about the 2 lineages that came from Buddha Shakyamuni, we have the profound view lineage, which is the teachings of emptiness, and the vast deeds lineage, which is the method side, basically, right? But now, I think what you're referring to is that quotation from Destiny Fulfilled, right? Let's go back, right? The profound Vajra vehicle and the perfection vehicle. So here, what is the profound vehicle? Okay. So in general, when we talk about profound view, it means view of emptiness. Now, the profound vehicle, why are we calling the Vajra vehicle the profound vehicle? Well, I actually want to check the Tibetan because Sapa would be profound. Now, it could just be it's a different translator doing something else. But in general, okay, in the Vajra vehicle, we're using a more subtle level of mind. Okay. The perfection vehicle is using gross level of mind that we have here, right? The view of emptiness is the same. The mind with which we realize emptiness is going to be different. Okay. So using a more subtle mind to realize emptiness, those subtle minds, making them able to manifest is like the special technique in Vajrayana. That's what makes it more profound. Okay. Now, in general, when we say profound, means not sort of accessible to ordinary beings. Those more subtle levels of mind are also not accessible to sentient beings without using these yogic techniques. So in that sense, the general meaning of profound is, the same, not accessible to ordinary beings.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Bei, raised hand.
Yeah, hopefully a quick one. I think I may have missed the reasoning of why the proof for why the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are still working for the sake of sentient beings.
Well, there's two. They've achieved the mind of bodhicitta, and they haven't given up that mind. And then the other point is, in the Mahayana tenet system, when the Buddha passes away, the mind isn't severed. The mind continues even after. So I believe in the Theravada tradition, they hold that, when Buddha manifested parinirvana in Kushinagar, then the Buddha's mental continuum was severed, right? So, right, in the Mahayana, they don't accept that. They say no longer in samsara, but a kind of the Dharmakaya, lives on. So because the Buddha's mind continues after death, the Buddha's mind has bodhicitta that wants to work for all sentient beings. And because there's still sentient beings who need to be liberated, therefore the Buddhas are making good on their, as long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until the man too remains to dispel the suffering of the world. That's what they're doing. Okay. So maybe we'll leave it at that. So let's dedicate the merit we've generated in our time here today for the mind of bodhicitta to be generated in our hearts and in the hearts of all sentient beings without even a second's delay. And may the bodhicitta that's already been generated increase. And through all the sentient beings in this world, generating bodhicitta, and therefore giving up the mind that wishes to cause any harm to another sentient being. May all the wars, particularly the war in Ukraine, but all the wars in the world, all the natural disasters, all of the effects due to environmental degradation, all the disease, all of the causes of suffering of body and mind, may all these be pacified. And instead, may all beings have the most conducive conditions to practicing Dharma, including having access to Dharma teachings and Dharma teachers. And therefore, due to all this merit, may all the gurus who are still abiding in this world, particularly the Sons of Dalai Lama, have long and stable lives. And may their activities to benefit sentient beings through teaching increase. And then let's also dedicate that all the gurus who have recently passed away, shown the aspect of dissolving back into the Dharmata, particularly Lamzo Rinpoche. And then I think maybe some of you know, Shanti knows actually my main teacher here at Sera, Geshe Chime Sering, he also passed away 3 weeks ago. So may he and all the rest of the gurus again manifest in this world in an unmistaken form and continue the work that they had started to benefit sentient beings and the teachings of Buddha. And from our side, the disciples, may we be able to fulfill all their wishes and act in accordance with their advice and instructions. Okay. Then all the beings who have died. Oh yes, I did receive a few emails and messages. So yeah, many of you know I am from Hawaii, but my family is from a different island in Maui. Nonetheless, it was very difficult to see those images and hear about that. So yeah, all the beings who lost their lives, may they be born in the Pure Land, whether in the wildfires or not. May all the beings in the Bardo be reborn in the Pure Land where they can achieve enlightenment. And then may all the destruction due to environmental degradation and natural disasters be instantly pacified. Okay. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next week. There are just a few reading in the packet. So yeah, maybe you can do that. I think there's 3 articles. So do as much as you can. Maybe let's say we'll do the two articles next week, by next week. The first 2. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you.
All right. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Namaste.